seconds. Oh my goodness, and Tim Onlu goes over a tenth of a second fast. Okay. Okie dokie, hello everyone, and welcome to the final round of the Season 8 of the Formula Hybrid Series. This is the Sao Paulo circuit in Brazil. You probably recognise it, it's a very famous one, and it's famous because it's good. Everyone loves the fact that we're doing a championship finale at this circuit. Unfortunately, we don't have Ross McIntyre in the commentary booth here, although totally understandable why. He's headed off to bed because he is going to be waking up ridiculously early to head off to the British Grand Prix tomorrow, and I'm insanely jealous. I myself have been to the British Grand Prix, but not since 2017, and that was my only experience actually, so I'm really jealous that he gets to go and enjoy that. But yeah, I hope he has the best of days anyway, and he did a really good job in the Hybrid Series. That was of course the Challenger split. This here, the Premier split, Masters split, to give it its actual name, and unfortunately both championships have already been decided. Of course, Vermin Racing Team won the Teams Championship, and the Drivers Championship was wrapped up by Max Hammerlink a couple of rounds ago. Max Hammerlink is here today, which is good to see. Sometimes, unfortunately, when drivers win championships early, they drop out and they don't see it through. Andreas Schilder is also here, and of course he wasn't last time out at Hungary, had to miss a round, but good to see him back on the grid. And even though he can't change his position either, he's confirmed to be finishing second in the championship here, unless something drastic happens and he gets, Schumacher style disqualified from the entire championship. But let's face it, he's second. So realistically, the only fights that we're going to be focusing on today are the fights on track, and specifically those for the win. For now though, pole position is a point of contention. It's Mustafa Moradi currently top of the timing sheets in this qualifying session. Oh, someone spins into the wall on their way into the pits. Max Hammerlink is second. Of course, Hammerlink has got most of the pole positions so far this season, and most of the points actually. If you look at the championship table, he has got pole position at 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. So actually not most of the pole position, although that is more than any other driver. Same number as Schilder. No, one fewer, so Schilder has 3 poles. Of course, last time out we had a brand new pole position. That was Mustafa Moradi who took it at the Hungaroring. And Moradi, of course, at the top of the times again, so he's been getting quicker and quicker as the season's been going on. And that's especially impressive considering he started off this series in the Challenger split. Almost definitely would have won the Challenger split if he carried on and done the full series there, but elected to move up to the Master split, and it's been showing that he deserves to be here, and he could be a real contender next year if he continues to improve at this rate. He's actually heading out onto the track once again. This isn't a flying lap that he's on right now. He's actually just setting up for a flyer. I should probably get open the Discord stream so I can tell who we're actually watching at any given point in this qualifying session. Still a long time to go in it though, over 12 minutes, and that is plenty of opportunity to go quicker than your best laps, especially since this is a very short circuit here. The lap times only 1 minute and 7 seconds if you do it absolutely perfectly, and you can see by the lap times by the side of the timing tower what that means. The stream that you're seeing, the cameras that you're seeing, are being provided by Kilgore Trout. Thank you to Kilgore for streaming this. Kilgore, though, I actually can't see the stream on Discord for some reason. I don't know if you know why, but for some reason I'm staring at a completely blank screen, apart from being actually in the session myself. Anyway, Max Hamlin goes to the top of the times, 107.479 for the Vermin Racing Team driver. For pole position so far, can he make it 5 out of 12 before the end of the series? In terms of wins, he's had even more luck than that, of course. He's had 6 victories so far, and if he wins today, that will mean he will have over a 50% winning record this series, and a 100% podium record, which is like Michael Schumacher 2002 style. Jan Dragoon now puts his car up into 5th place in the session. Oh, as Toby Sanford there goes up to P5. Now, a brand new driver here today, Oliver Gibson, has not raced in any of the other Master Split rounds, and that's because he has been in the Challenger Split recently, scoring 4 podiums in the recent races. Actually came into that late as well, although he's elected to move up to the Master Split for today, and he crosses the line there, setting at a 109.2 to put in 11th on the grid. So not particularly competitive in the Master Split just yet, although we've seen from the Challenge Split that he is a promising driver, and once he gets up to speed in the Master Split, and with his new team today, he is racing with RGB Sim Racing, replacing Cyprian Stoyan, who doesn't appear to be here today, unfortunately. But anyway, once he gets up to speed, he can show us what he's made of. Also, Tony Gelato is brand new as well, in the number 25. And Tony Gelato has he been racing in Challenger Split? Let me look that up quickly. No, he is brand new. So Tony Gelato absolutely new to the Master Split and to Formula Trout for 2021. Let me see if I can see the stream now. Yes, now I can see it. Thank you very much, Kilgore. That's a lot better. Okay, so now I'll be able to tell who we're watching at any given moment. Okie dokie, this is Maximilian Younger. Whoa, who almost catches Christoph Berzer, who was facing backwards in the S's there. That was a little disconcerting. Maybe Younger losing a couple of tenths of a second on that lap. Now Younger's currently, having a big slide himself into, and he's going to spin it. Yeah, that looked ragged right the way through that final sector there. And now he's got to make sure that he's off the line before someone else comes through, because he's right on the track there and struggling to get it going. Luckily, the next car through was Christoph Berzer, whose lap had already been ruined. So that will not affect him at all. Into the pits comes Max Younger. Understandably, just looking up the Interlagos circuit, because this is one of the circuits that I really like, because it actually has corner names, so you can differentiate between the different parts of the circuit, and there's some quite fun corner names as well. Ferradura, Vico de Pato, Pinarino. Yeah, love these corner names. Of course, Formula 1 today are at a similar circuit, Silverstone, which has every corner but one named. The only one there that isn't named is the one that everyone refers to as Vale. Technically, that's the dip in the hill that they're in. I'm going off on a real tangent right now, aren't I? But anyway, let's see if we can find someone who's just starting off a flying lap, so we can take you around the Sao Paulo circuit, since we still have quite a while. Oh, and Hamilton there goes to the top of the times, 106.933, so first driver in the 106s. Yeah, so we can take you around this Sao Paulo circuit. What about Jan Dragoon? Is he about to come into the pits, or is he going to start another lap for us? Just finishing a lap. Don't know if he can go for another one right now, but anyway. We're currently on board with Gibson anyway, so we can see some of the lap. He's just been through Ferradura. Laran Hinya is the second part of that, and then you get the S's, Pinarino, the one with the dodgy curb, then Pico de Pato is this hairpin here, which I believe means duckbill, then Mugulo, and Jung Kao is the 90-degree left-hander that we're just approaching. In while Toby Sanford goes 6th in the times. And then up the hill through Zavida do boxes, and I don't know what that means. Something to do with boxes maybe. And that's the final corner on the lap, completely flat out, and it brings you across the finish line. Still not particularly quick for Oliver Gibson. Decent lap, only P11 though, and he would have been hoping for better than that after his recent success in the Challenger split. But that's probably quicker than I could do after maybe even 50 laps or so of practice. So decent job there from Gibson, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into the top 10 in future Master Split qualifying sessions. So over 6 minutes still to go in this qualifying session, and you often see in a series like this that the fastest times come right towards the end of the session, where everyone's more desperate, they've had more practice. Of course, rubbering in isn't so much of an effect here, as Alex Cochran goes 3rd, and gets demoted by Christoph Berzer. Berzer going 3rd now. Yeah, so rubbering in isn't so much of an issue on Assetto Corsa. It would be if we were on a simulator like Ice2 or maybe iRacing, but it doesn't affect the cars in Assetto Corsa. Maxi Younger. Sorry, what's that? Okay, being told the track grip does start lower than usual. Sorry, Maxi Younger just went up to 4th in the session, only just beating out Alex Cochran's time there. So ahead for the time being. We're watching Max Hammerling completing another timed lap, and possibly going on to start a new one as well, because yes, that was the end of an outlap there. So Max Hammerling, don't know where I added the extra syllable, but Max starting another lap, running slightly over the white line on the entrance of turn 3, but that's okay. We were told earlier that drivers would be penalised for that, but then that statement was withdrawn, and it seems that you're allowed to go a little bit over the white line on the inside there, just so long as you aren't very blatantly cutting the corner. I don't think you could be more blatant at that corner actually, because there's a wall on the inside. But anyway, Jan Dragoon up to P6 there as we talk. A lot of the top drivers, well, 2 of the top drivers in the pits anyway. Alex Cochran just exited the pits, so they're setting up for some more runs. Hammerling through to complete his 2nd sector time, and it's up. He's improving still, and it looks like it's going to be in the 106.6s here maybe, and he's got a little bit of a slipstream up ahead there, someone giving him a distant tow completely unintentionally. I don't think either of Max Hammerling's teammates are here today, unfortunately. Hammerling does improve his time, and it is in the 106.6s. It's a 106.631, so that is by far the fastest time we've seen so far here. Of course, this is a very quick circuit, but you would never have guessed that by the 0.4 of a second gap for pole position. Max Hammerling is going to be very tough to beat here. Meanwhile, Mustafa Muradi may well just be setting up for another flying lap. It's David Halligan on our screen, who is on a flying lap. Muradi comes into the pits, so I'm proved very much wrong. As Tony Gelato does now move up into P8, so into the top 10. Christoph Berzer in the pits, getting ready for his final flying run. We're about to see Halligan's 2nd sector time here. About 6/10 down on pole, so where would that put him? That would still put him up on his personal best. He might still be able to challenge for P5 here at this rate. Oh, that would put him alongside his rival Alex Cochran. Let's see, DRS open, across the line. Oh, P4, so he goes slightly higher than I expected. Jumps ahead of Maxi Younger. 2nd row of the grid, not bad. Behind him, Toby Sanford goes P6 in the other Octan car. So those cars looking decently competitive here so far. And Oliver Gibson's now in the top 10, P10 for him. Now, one thing to note is that Andreas Schilder has not yet been out on track, and I'm wondering, does he have a penalty or something like that? Is that why he's in the pits? Okay, well, Kilgore's saying he thinks he might have spun, but he isn't sure. He also said don't quote me on that, but I just quoted him on that, so obviously feeling in a bit of a mad mood today. Alex Cochran up into to P4 in the Nova Finlandia car, and that does put him right with David Halligan, who he's come together with quite a few times so far this season, so I almost hope they don't start together. Muradi, oh my goodness, Muradi almost had to start his lap alongside Maximilian Younger there, because Younger was just completing his lap, went P5, and now Muradi is just starting his. If Younger had kept his foot in there, he could have been a real headache to Mustafa Muradi. But as it is, Muradi is up on the top time in the first sector there. Muradi first of anyone in sector 1. Very purple crash bar on the inside there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the case. That's the most purple crash bar I've ever seen in my life. Down in... Kilgore saying he's going to get told off for that. No, that's okay. It looks good. It's ornamental. Anyway, Mustafa Muradi going past one of the... that was Birds in there, just off the road on the outside. Oh, only just down on Hamlin's time in the second sector. He could be on for pole here. Up through the final sector. It depends on how quick he is here and what his setup's like for straight line speed. As Gustavo Dalla Valle sets his first lap. But what's the lap for Muradi? Across the line. Oh, it is pole. It is pole position. And Hamlin has very limited opportunities to go fast here. I think he is on a lap now. Oh, and he locks up. So if this lap isn't good enough, he will only get one more flying run. And he's setting up for one more flying run. And that will be his last chance. Running off the road to get out of the way of someone coming through. Oh, he's stopping on the outside there. Cochrane's had enough. We're just seeing him there parked next to one of the TV screens that surrounds the circuit. Hamlin does put the pedal to the metal now. Prepares for his final flying run. He needs to gain 0.03 of a second in order to get pole position away from Mustafa Muradi. Locks up into turn 1. That's going to cost him maybe 0.5 of a second or something like that. But he didn't set himself up great for turn 2. Out of the corner, he's going to be slightly down in the first sector here. He's a 10th down. The checkered flag will be waiting for him at the end of this lap. Cochrane and Younger are confirmed as being not able to go any faster. They're in the pits. Muradi is also in the pits, but we expected that. Into Ferradura. And Larinia. Max Hamlin getting the car turned in relatively nicely there. Could have used a little bit more curve, but he's okay. Knows what he's doing. Pico de Pato. Down into the final sector. This is where we get the second sector time. It hasn't been spectacular from Max. Oh, and he's off. And that's the end of the session from Max. It looks as if he just made a mistake through there and then bailed out a bit when he knew that he wasn't going to make the corner. So Max Hamlin does not go pole. David Halligan jumps up to 4th place there. Good final lap for him. And I think that's all of the drivers. Oliver Gibson maybe is going to complete one more flying lap there. Can he get into the top 10 maybe? He might just. That's the line. Nope, does improve his lap, but stays down on Dave Southwood there. So he stays P12. So that's the order there. Now I hope that Andreas Schilder is able to start the race because he was not able to set a qualifying lap. And I presume that, it could just be he knows that he and his team are pretty much confirmed in their championship positions, second in each. So he doesn't really need to take this very seriously. He can just start at the back and see how he does, see how far he can climb. Maybe just doing that for fun, but that's complete speculation there. Whatever the case, Mustafa Muradi takes a fantastic pole position. That was a giant slaying drive to move ahead of Max Hamlin on the grid. And then from Hamlin back, there's almost half a second between him and Christoph Berzer, the second row of the grid. So a big gap there. It might just be a 2-horse race here, but behind we have an intense battle for the midfield. Christoph Berzer, David Halligan, Alex Cochrane, Maximilian Younger, Jan Dragoon, Toby Sanford, Connor Peltman, Tony Gelato in that order. Then outside of the top 10, Dave Southwood, Oliver Gibson, Gustavo Della Valle, and then Andreas Schilder, if indeed he can start this race. 2 minutes now until the start of the race. It's not quite a Grand Prix length. It's about 3/4 of a Grand Prix length. I don't actually know how the length of these races is decided. I'm sure Kilgore can update us on that. But anyway, yeah, Kilgore, what is the length of this race? Is it 3/4 of a Grand Prix or something like that? 175 kilometers. Well, a Grand Prix is 310 kilometers, so that's yeah, just over half. Okay, thanks, thanks for letting me know. Of course, that is still long enough to get pit stop strategy going, and you need to make a pit stop in this race because you have to use more than one compound of dry tire here, and that's why you're going to be seeing drivers ducking in at some points in the race, and potentially drivers starting on different tire compounds to each other. Although these ever since about halfway through the season, I haven't been able to see the tire compounds that drivers are on. My game just seems to randomly select which compounds I see, and it's never the right ones. So I'll be relying on the Discord stream for those, and those may not be fully updated just yet. So we will have to see. 40 seconds now before the start of the race. Leave your comments in the predictions of. Leave your predictions in the comments. That's the right way around. Of the Twitch stream or the YouTube stream. I always like going back and seeing how they age, seeing if anyone hit the nail on the head. Maybe not just in terms of who wins, but your podium predictions or your hot takes. What do you expect is going to surprise us all? 10 seconds now, and then the lights are going to go out for 47 laps of racing here at Sao Paulo for the Premier Series. This is going to be fantastic. And here we go, the lights are out. Slightly better for start for Hammerlink. Oh, and a big slide for Muradi. Hammerlink gets through. Muradi was very twitchy off the line, so Muradi leads this race. Through into second goes Berza. At the back of the field, Schilder has started, so we do have 14 cars in the race, and he's up to 13th already. Up in front, Hammerlink leads from Berza. Halligan's on the inside. Halligan might get second here. He's going for it. He's got the inside, brakes slightly later. Although Birds is able to gather the momentum around the outside. Cochrane taking a look. And luckily Halligan sees him. Now he goes up the inside of Berza again. Has to back out of that one. That's not a corner where you expect to see an overtaking maneuver. Jan Dragoon drops to the back. Looks like he's had enough. That's a shame for Jan. The lead's extending now to almost 1.8 seconds with that slide from Muradi. Let's see if he can come back through from 5th on the grid. Dave Southwood made a huge dive on Andreas Schilder there, so Schilder got through, but it looked as if he gave the place back to Southwood, because that didn't look as if Schilder was just being overtaken normally. 2 seconds already is the gap for the lead, so Hammerlink running away with this. Fantastic first lap for him. One of the first laps of the season. David Halligan with the slipstream, with the overspeed, goes to the outside line. Christoph Berza, no DRS yet, and if he'd had DRS, I have no doubt that he'd have gone through there. Berza's still second, and Cochrane goes through into third. So Cochrane's now up into third, because Halligan forced himself off the line and lost all the momentum, but now he's got the momentum. The momentum advantage over Cochrane, who defended on the inside. So that's how they stand now. Halligan, Berza, Cochrane is the order. Whoa, Halligan going back through on the inside. And getting caught out over the curbs, so Cochrane's still third. This is a frenetic first couple of laps, drivers swapping positions all over the place, which is fantastic to see. Now, apart from Dragoon having a brief off, it looks as if the rest of the field was clean there, and he is still in the race, albeit half a minute down on the leaders and 20 seconds down on the rest of the pack. So, up towards the start of turn 3, and as soon as they cross the start-finish line, the DRS, whoa, big spin, and Muradi's around! So Muradi, whoa, almost getting hit by Schilder, big avoiding action. Muradi's had a spin, Sanford's off with him, so I don't know if they made contact or whether Sanford went off in avoidance, but that is a disaster for Mustafa Muradi. He would have expected to be leading the race at this point, and now he is P13 and in the pits. Not sure if he's going to retire or whether he's just going to get new tyres and see what he can do from the back. But whatever the case, that is an absolute disaster from the front of the grid for Mustafa Muradi. And what a shame. Anyway, the race continues. Alex Cochrane on the back of Berza, who locks up. Cochrane locks up almost in sympathy there. Already spending a long time in the pit, so either he's had damage repairs or he is elected to retire from this race, I'm afraid to say. Anyway, as I was saying, Berza and Cochrane both slightly locking up, so Berza feeling the pressure and and Cochrane just doing it in sympathy. Halligan is right there with them, and they've broken away a little from Younger behind, so this appears to be the battle here. I'm not surprised they've broken away from Younger behind, because that's where Muradi was before. But now Halligan now to the outside, and sweeps straight past Cochrane's car. That was a relatively easy looking move in the end there, but locks up into turn 1, gets off the line. Cochrane will get the switch back, gets a little blocked behind the rear wing of Halligan's car. What about the second DRS zone? Oh, so he's right back around the outside, but doesn't make the corner, so that's going to go back the way of Halligan. As you saw, DRS well and truly active in this race now and making big impacts in the order already. Meanwhile, Sandford came into the pits, and we saw him, of course, avoiding action from Muradi, so maybe had an instant of his own or something like that. Muradi is back in the race, I'm pleased to say, although sadly, as we expected, a long way down. Now if he can run for a while on those tyres and be a bit light. This track actually isn't one where you get particularly high tyre wear, so I wonder if can you go to the end on those? Probably not, but it would be a good strategy call if you could. Christoph Berzer now set in the fastest lap of the race, so not allowing Hamlin to get away like he did on the first lap. The first lap, Hamlin gained 2 seconds, and since then, the gap's been staying about the same actually, maybe extended by 4 tenths or so. But yeah, now that it seems that Hamlin was a lot faster at the start, but now that it's not the start anymore and that Berzer's in his rhythm, Berzer keeping up a little. Meanwhile, Gibson there up the inside of Dave Southwood. That's for P10. So Oliver Gibson on his first Master Split outing in the top 10, as is our other newcomer, Tony Gelato, in the other RGB car. So both of those newcomers doing a decent job there. It was Dave Bull, the other driver, who was replaced in that seat along with Cyprian Stoyan. Bit of a lock-up from Oliver, but he's okay. And there is... Well, we were briefly watching Gelato, and now we're watching him from on board Andreas Schilder's point of view. And he's going to look like a big red target for Andreas Schilder, who approaches and goes to the inside of Tony's car, and through he goes. Now Schilder, of course, the second winningest driver in this series so far. He has he's won 2 of the 11 races that we've had so far, and is second in the championship. And it's going to be difficult for him to win this one, considering he's coming through from the back of the grid. But if we know Schilder, we know that he's got the pace for a podium here, and that's what he's going to be going for. Had to miss the last round. Locking up, keeping it under control. Ahead of him, Connor Pelkmans is all over the back of Maxi Younger, and Pelkmans, like his teammate, has been getting faster and faster as the series has gone on. Started off the season relatively slowly. Got a 7th in the first race, but then was out the points in the next 2, and then took a massive break. Returned for Hungary and was actually pretty impressive there. It was very quick. Oh, up ahead of him, I think. Oh yeah, Pelkmans is going for the move now, around the outside of Younger. Gets it done before the corner, locks up there, he's going very wide. It's going to give Younger a chance for a switchback, but Pelkmans, despite the lockup, had the car stable, got through the corner, and now they're side by side again, neck and neck down the straight. Younger to the outside, and goes through, goes wide. Oh, and Pelkmans straight back through. You don't know who's going to come out this one ahead. That was brilliant driving. Connor Pelkmans. Oh, it looks as if Russ McIntyre actually is watching the stream in the Twitch chat. Hello, Russ. Shouldn't you be in bed, considering you've got to wake up at like 4 AM tomorrow? Anyway, I'm glad that you're here, and I hope you're enjoying this nonetheless. Shame you didn't feel awake enough for a commentary, because this is an exciting race, and I can hear you screaming your head off as if you're here alongside me. Anyway, Pelkmans, Younger, Schilder, slipstreaming down the straight. Peltmans, keeps it under control. I was always wondering if Younger was going to pop straight back up the inside, just like he did a lap ago, where they swapped and swapped back and then swapped again. But now they've got another problem, and his name is Andreas Schilder. The Griffin Gaming car approaching, and all over their tails. Now in terms of tyres, it looks as if Schilder is on the C2s, the hardest compound tyres, so trying to leave his car late, leave his stint late, gain from the track position he'll gain by doing so, and then put on a really soft compound at the end, and go as fast as he likes. Bit of a lock up there from Younger. Younger on the slightly softer C3 compound, which you can see by the yellow wall, the yellow tyre wall. Up the hill they go, more slipstreaming in effect, and that shows you of course the speed that Schilder has, because even on a harder compound of tyre which won't give him an advantage just yet, he's still gaining. In the background, Tony Della Gustavo Della Valle, I have no idea why I said Tony there, defending from Gibson. I think just getting past Gibson, but that's slightly confusing me because Gibson was ahead or was behind last time I looked, so maybe Gibson got past and I didn't see it, and now he's going to get past again. Look, there he goes on the outside. Oliver Gibson P9. Oh, and running wide and back through is going to go Della Valle. How many times have we seen that so far? They're still neck and neck though. And Gibson keeps the move. He's very lucky to do that, because often if you go wide there, then there's just no traction. Goodness, and no grip there either on the entrance to the corner. A lot of lockups to do. There are some relatively heavy braking zones at this circuit, and it's in all of those where you've been seeing the tyres locking up. But even more than I'd expect. You don't experience flat spotting in Assetto Corsa, but even so, this won't be doing their tyres any good. Once again on the straight there, Peltmans, Younger and Schilder so close. Still watching Della Valle though, see if he can get alongside Gibson. Oh no, he's got Southwood coming through, so the teammates side by side there. And, oh, and touching! Oh no! Well, that was not supposed to happen. Goodness me. And Southwood dropping back in the other DAC racing car, and now Peltmans and Younger are side by side. Oh, and they touch, and around goes Peltmans. Oh, he just saves it. Just saves it. That is going to allow Schilder through, almost undoubtedly. Peltman's still there, not giving up. Now on my screen, it almost looks as if they didn't touch at all. It kind of looked like iRacing style netcode. Maybe the hitbox is being slightly bigger than the car itself, but even so, that would have registered as a hit, and Peltmans was tipped sideways. It was a good save, but it's now given Maxi Younger P5. So towards the end of another lap, that's allowed Schilder, of course, a clear view of the back of Maxi Younger's car. I mean, he had it before, but of course, that was with Peltmans in the mix. Now he sees P5 rather than just P6. On the exit, DRS opens. This looks to be relatively straightforward. And his car well and truly quick enough to get through in a straight line there. Andreas Schilder, P5 now ahead of Maxi Younger. And what a drive this has been from Andreas so far. We knew he was capable of it, but still. P5 from the back of the grid in just 11 laps. Or 10 and a bit laps actually, considering they haven't completed the 11th lap yet. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Ahead of him, Cochrane making a slight mistake into the hairpin, and Schilder echoing it. So, that's the highest battle in the order now. Whoa, Schilder sliding, Schilder going sideways. Is Younger going to get back through? I think Younger had to take some avoiding action there. Otherwise, he would definitely have gone through by then. That is going to allow Younger to get the overspeed on the straight. And with the DRS, he's going to get back through. Well, oh! What happened to Schilder? Schilder's in the wall, Kimi Räikkönen style. And it looked as if there was just a sudden jink or something. Did he get... Was he touched from behind by Peltmans, I wonder? Yes, it seems that he was. I didn't see that clearly, but that's put Schilder hard into the wall. That is awful luck. Now I can see it on the YouTube stream because I can rewind that. Peltmans went to the inside, and Peltmans just drove into the back of him. Well, I don't want to act as a steward or whatever. I don't want to put blame on anyone, but it seems Peltmans just misjudged how slowly Schilder was going there, and just drove straight into him. So that put Schilder well down the order, and that was a huge hit. And Schilder running off the road there, so probably has damage, and I'm not surprised. Wow. Oh yeah, Schilder's steering awful steering on a straight. It's hanging to the left, horrendously. He's being passed by Southwood on the outside. They're going to touch, are they? Whoa, goodness, great avoidance from Southwood. And now something's changing. Peltmans was under heavy attack from Younger. Oh no, Peltman's just passing Younger there, so Peltman's now up into P5. I'm sure there's going to be a steward's inquiry about that incident at the end of the race though. Younger back to the outside. Sweeps past him. And keeps it on the road. That's a bonus. Up the hill. On the inside still. That's where you want to be. Into Ferradura. Goes through. Meanwhile, Schilder in the pits. And I'm afraid no surprise there. He started at the back and he's going to be at the back again. Even behind the second already. So this is still the battle for P5. They're just approaching the crucial point on the track. The point where it all kicks off. They go relatively steady through the S's, knowing that those aren't really overtaking opportunities, but as soon as you reach this straight, as soon as that rear wing flap opens, all hell breaks loose. And then continues to break loose through turns 1, 2 and 3, and all the way down towards turn 4. It's great stuff to see. Very well designed circuit for racing actually. Very well designed. And it's one of the circuits that shows that just because a track is relatively narrow and twisty, it doesn't need to be bad for racing. Peltmans to the outside. Trying to force Younger into a mistake, which he does. Oh, no, Peltmans has made a bigger one. Peltmans facing backwards. Oh, goodness. Peltmans' race goes from bad to worse. I mean, well, it goes from decent to worse, I suppose, because he was running in 6th place. But, yeah, touched the back of Younger as well. And spins around. In real life, his front wing would be looking very dead right now. But Peltmans continues on. Can't imagine his tyres like it much. These tyres do overheat quite easily if you go for spins. Meanwhile, Toby Sanford's had a disconnection. That's a shame. He was running P11, so wasn't on course for points, but now he has 0 chance for points, placing a slim chance. Anyway, Alex Cochrane into the pits now. One of the first of the leaders to make a scheduled pit stop. Comes in on C3s. Let's see what he goes out on. C2s, okay, so I hope we're running to the end on those. To be honest, I'm not surprised because he pitted well before the halfway point, so yeah, gonna run. Unless he's planning a 2-stopper, because that was still quite early for that. Not sure if he is. I have to admit, I didn't pay enough attention to strategy in the Challenger split. Ooh, wide goes Dalla Valle there. Now Dalla Valle isn't racing Cochrane in the effective order, and knows it. Oh, wow! Almost ran into a mid-corner, but yeah, he knew that he didn't really have to fight Cochrane there. Cochrane on a different strategy to Dalla Valle altogether. Ahead of them, Tony Gibson, Oliver Gibson. Got the two newcomers mixed up. The other one, of course, being Tony Gelato, who is now up into 5th place, incidentally. Of course, got past Peltmans when he had his spin, and will be 6th in the net order, providing Alex Cochrane stays ahead. Anyway, someone else came into the pits that last time around, I think. It's Gustavo Dalla Valle, so Dalla Valle coming in from P9. Cochrane wasn't quite able to get Gibson on that straight there, so getting a little held up through turns 1, 2 and 3. But going through into turn 4 maybe, yep, on the outside, and Gibson also knows that there's not really much point in fighting Alex. by getting out the way, he cost himself a lot less time than if he'd fought and defended. So, decent driving there from Gibson, and a good move from Alex, and he continues on his way. Connor Peltman's just up ahead now, making a lock-up into Pico Tapato, which is just lock-up corner now. Up into, is it called Sabido de Boxes? Still don't know what that section of track is named after, but maybe it's the shape of the corners? That wouldn't make sense, they're not particularly boxy. Anyway, Gibson into the pits, P9. His first Formula Trout Master Split pit stop. Not that it's any different from a Challenger Split pit stop, but anyway. And he goes from C3s to C2s as well. So going for a very similar strategy to Alex Cochrane. Looks as if there will be some differing strategies in this race though. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these drivers stay out a lot later and try to come in for a softer set, try to avoid those C2s. Because they do cost you time sometimes. Mainly C2s only really gain you positions through track positioning. I think I just saw Andreas Schilder claim fastest lap there, so obviously his damage fully repaired, that's good to see. He is out on track again, although obviously a long way down the order. Stone dead last, I'm afraid. Connor Peltman's into the pits. And Dave Southwood, so we're well and truly into the pit stages. One of the most important parts of the race, and one of the most exciting. It does tend to calm down around this period, but it all gets so much more intense towards the end as the strategies even out and drivers find themselves fighting on track again. Putman's exiting the pits. He's going to come out relatively close to Oliver Gibson here. Oh no, he's not. He's going to come out ahead of both Maradi and Gibson. So Peltman's makes a stop and comes out ahead of his teammate, which has got to feel bad for Maradi, who had that incident earlier on. And yeah, definitely had to make damage repairs by the looks of things, because otherwise he would not have been in the pits for quite so long. David Halligan in from third. The most important pit stop of the race so far. Can we get a different... Yes, now we can see what tyres he's on. He's on C2s as well, so not entirely surprised. I guess the other alternative would be to go C3, C3, C4 if you were two-stopping. Maybe some drivers will try that out if they feel that they have nothing really to lose. But anyway, for the time being, race drivers going C3, C2 and going for that track position. That longer stint to avoid them having to go for another pit stop. Halligan coming out not too far ahead of Cochrane, but far enough ahead to be comfortable for the time being. The undercut did bring him slightly closer apparently, and yeah, it does appear to be the case. Max Hammerlink in from the lead, so now this is the most important pit stop of the race. Let's see if it goes well. Berzer, of course, has taken the lead, and Hammerlink also on those C2s. Very popular strategy here. Seems to be the status quo. Does he come out ahead of Younger, or is he going to have to fight past him on track? I think he is going to come out ahead of Maxi Younger here. And now he's got to push on those soft tyres to make sure he doesn't lose out to Berzer, who, yes, is on harder and older tyres, but those tyres are already up to temperature. I think Hammerlink is going to have a safety margin when Berzer pits. I think he'll be okay. And actually, if Berzer was to pit now, then Younger might actually split them. I think Berzer might pit now, actually, because he's got to cover off Hammerlink somehow. Make sure he doesn't lose too much time. And providing Younger stays out, that might actually put a car between the two. Let's see what Christoph does. Yep, that looks like he's stopping to me. In he comes. Brakes for the chicane on the pit entrance. Let's see what Maxi Younger does behind him. Younger might stay out and try to benefit from the slipstream of Hamlink's car. Now he comes in as well, so that's for Christoph Berzer there. That's going to give him... Oh, and big slide from Younger on the way in, but keeps them under control. Berzer's on C2s, Younger will do the same. Berzer exits the pits. Where's Halligan? Halligan's going to come out relatively close to Berzer. But Berzer keeps second, that's important. So Christoph Berzer does keep that second place, and his gap to Hammerlink up in front is 7 seconds. So the gap has come out. And Hammerlink just needs to keep it steady now in order to win this race. He knows that his rivals haven't got the pace for it. So they would have to rely on mistakes from Hammerlink, which he's not going to give them the pleasure of getting. And that means that the first pit stop stage is pretty much over now. Did Tony Gelato pit? I think he did, didn't he? Yeah, just did. So, yeah, that's the first pit stage pretty much over. And if there are any drivers out there going for 2 stoppers, we may still see another. But actually, considering I can't really see what tyres people are on, it's kind of difficult for me to keep up with what strategy people are going for, but anyway, Max Hammerlink sets the fastest lap of the race as we talk. So here's the order after the first pit stop stage. Hammerlink is leading, followed by Christoph Berzer. The gap now at 7.6 seconds, so extending it already. Then Halligan is third, 3 seconds down on Berzer. Not quite 3 seconds down, about 2.9. Alex Cochran is P4, about 1.9 down on Halligan. Running slightly wide there into turn 4. Then it's Maxi Younger, Tony Gelato, Jan Dragoon, Connor Peltmans. Mustafa Muradi, don't know what he's doing for the remainder of this race, whether he's going to make I presume he's going to make another stop because he pitted extremely early, but it all depends on how well those C2s hold up. If he is on C2s, I haven't actually seen, but anyway, Muradi well and truly further down than he should be right now. Didn't see what caused the accident. Maybe it was his fault, I don't know. Dave Southwood is P10, then it's Oliver Gibson in his first Master Split race. And we're on board with Gibson right now as he tries to chase down Dave Southwood. And then it's Gustavo Dalla Valle. And Schilder's had a spin there, so Schilder there, Andreas Schilder spinning from P13. Hasn't been his day. Schilder's going to be lucky to score points here. Of course, the only retirement so far is Toby Sanford, so we still have 13 of our 14 starters remaining. A little bit of a shame to see only 14 drivers show up for the finale. Often, I've noticed with sim racing series, you often get a massive grid in the first race, and then it slowly starts to diminish over the next few rounds. And then for the finale, suddenly everyone shows up again. But every time the series restarts, or you get a new series or whatever, you get another boost of competitors again. So, Master Split Series 9, wouldn't be surprised if we get 20 or something people on the grid for the first race. Let's hope so. Max Hammerlink, once again, fast as anyone. He is pulling away and just enjoying it at this point in time. So let's make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, but some drivers actually report that the faster they go, the less likely they are to make mistakes, because it requires more concentration, and therefore they give it more concentration. Sometimes one of the hardest things to do in a race car is to drive slowly, conserve tyres or whatever, because I mean, your tyres cool down, and your brain almost feels like it cools down as well. It's an interesting effect, but yeah, I think that does tend to be the case. That's why one of the reasons you rarely see race leaders spinning off. But anyway, Max Hammerlink absolutely schooling the opposition right now, showing them all how it's done. We're watching Mustafa Muradi. Let's get some on-board content actually. Let's go on board with Mustafa if we can. Since there we go. This is the view looking over the top of the halo. Now the reason I've asked for this is because Mustafa, of course, is one of the best drivers on the grid, and one of the most precise. And watching onboard laps with him, it's always a bit of a lesson in racecraft. Figure out using every inch of the road that he can, right up to and slightly beyond the white line, but only with 2 tyres, and that is perfectly allowed and perfectly acceptable. Across the start-finish line, and then he'll descend down the hill, and this corner is great because it's slightly banked, slightly cambered, and flings you down the hill, which is always such a fun feeling. Out towards turn 4. The car you see up the road there is Connor Peltman's teammate, and Peltman's won't make it too much of an issue for him if he proves that he's fast. Whoopsie daisy, oh no! And Moretti's in the wall! So just as I was talking about him being very precise and very good, he's out of the race. Goodness, so Mustafa Moretti, who took pole position earlier on, has crashed out as we were riding on board with him, and that is a huge shame. This race was already going badly. Commentator's curse, I guess. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to have a look back on the YouTube stream, actually, to see if I can spot what happened to Moretti at the start of this race. Because I know he got a bad start, but then there was another incident, of course, at the end of, was it lap 2 maybe? Where all of a sudden he was facing backwards and there was a driver avoiding him and whatnot. Looks like we only caught the end of that in the stream, because he went in he went in like right in front of his teammate, Connor Peltman's, and then spun around, and it was walloped by Sanford, so that's why he had to come into the pits in the end. Yeah, not surprised he had to make a pit stop for that, but sadly he'll need more than a pit stop now. He'll be going off for an ice cream. Especially if, of course, the temperature wherever he is quite as bad as it is here in the UK. Kilgore found that very funny. What was so funny about me saying he was going for an ice cream there? he was imagining Kimi Räikkönen. Yeah, that was the image I was going for. It wasn't that funny. I do try though. Anyway, big shame for Mustafa Moretti. Looked if he just ran it wide over the curb, and then in trying to get it under control again, got it on the grass. From then on, there was absolutely no controlling it. And into the wall he went. So, 20 laps of this race remaining now. Most of the drivers out there are on C2s, so running long. I'm just nursing the car to the end. The closest cars on track are Dragoon and Peltman's, and we're on board with Peltman's here. Hopefully, we don't give it the same kind of cursed treatment as... And he's going through on the outside. Backs out of it. Now those... I was gonna say, those are C1s on Dragoon's car, aren't they? So that's the hardest compound tyre available, and you very rarely see that. Drivers tend to avoid those tyres like the plague. Crystal Burrs are on just setting the fastest lap there, so having some fun in retaliation of Hammerlink. But yeah, Dragoon there going very, very conservative on his tyres. And he's going to be quite vulnerable to Peltman's here, down the straight. DRS open to the outside. And around the outside, the next corner's a right-hander. Well done. Good move for Peltman's. And the C1 shod Dragoon drops back. Those tyres really do cost you a lot of time. And there's Schilder actually making an overtake. I saw him have a spin a few laps ago, but obviously still pushing on in this race, and props to him for not dropping out of it. Oh, Dragoon's had a spin. I just saw him, I was watching Peltman's and I just saw Dragoon looping it in the background. I don't think he hit anything, so he'll be okay, but his tyres might not be. They are, of course, designed to last, but they're not designed to be driven sideways and screeched into the ground. But we'll see. He's now got Dave Southwood almost right up his chuff. He will be in a couple of laps if he continues like that. Anyway, Gustavo Dalla Valle there. Another driver who hasn't had the best of races, but has continued on anyway. And hasn't given up. And I always appreciate a driver like that, because often it's so tempting. If you're running outside of the points and you're about 20 laps in or whatever, it's so tempting to go, well, you know, there's no chance of me getting points here. I'm getting tired, so I'm just going to log off. But you shouldn't do that, because there's always a chance. I mean, I've been in a few races where I finished in one position and then got to the end of the race, and then it's like, oh well, 3 people ahead of you got disqualified for some reason, and now you're in the points. And yeah, because some drivers don't feel that it's worth it. And for Schilder, I mean, he doesn't need the points right now. He's not in a championship fight. He's confirmed as second, and I suppose that makes it even more commendable that he's continuing. Dave Southwood now in the other DAC racing car. I don't know what DAC stands for, but anyway. It stands for Don't Actually Care, apparently. Kilgore Trout saying that's not true. That was just his response to my question. But anyway, DAC racing. And very nearly in DRS range of Jan Dragoon up ahead. DAC driving absolutely crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask them if one of them jumps into the interview room or something like that. I'm not trying to say that Dave Southwood is driving crazy by any means. He is catching Jan Dragoon rather nicely here, and it looks as if he's going to make a move in the next couple of laps. 16 laps to go in this race, so he's got plenty of time. And he's definitely got the tyre advantage too. Up the hill they go, and now the DRS will open. DRS proving very effective on this track. Oh, and into the pits comes Dragoon. And despite the fact he had those C1s, he did spin a few times. Did he start on those C1s? I'm not sure he'd made a pit stop before. I think what might have happened is he decided to start on the C1s and then go into softs later. And maybe that's just what his strategy is here. But I may be completely wrong. And he exits in 12th position now, so that does put Schilder into the points, and that's exactly what I was talking about how it's worth continuing. Of course, for Schilder it doesn't matter, but I guess now he can say that he didn't give up. Oh, I may have spoken too soon. He had a little incident there. I think he had a spin, because suddenly his name came up in red. But he appears to be okay, appears to still be running. That's good to see. Feeling like a bit of a trooper today is Andreas Schilder. Good to see. Okie dokie, into the final 15. Oh, and he's going to spin again. Whoopsie daisy. Does he continue this time? Yes, he does. Rejoins the road. Drops to dead last. And gets lapped by Max Hammerlink. That's got to add salt to the wounds. His main championship rival, who beat him a few rounds ago, has just overtaken him to put him a lap down, and Schilder comes into the pits. Bad day for him. I reckon he could still get fastest lap though. If I was Schilder, that's what I'd be going for right now, because there's not really any more chances for points through scoring. And as a result, I think I'd probably just be going for bragging rights now. Just go out there and say, this is what I could have done. You know, I'm the fastest. Look at what I've done. Oh, Cochrane's in the wall. Oh no, that's from 4th place. Alex Cochrane's had a big slide, and he's bounced off the barriers. And that was a relatively big hit as well. Younger goes through. Cochrane's sliding about. Through as well goes Gelato. Cochrane now P6. Wow, so a big mistake from Alex Cochrane there. Every time I say the name gelato, I think of ice cream, and I've had a horrible day because I've run out of ice cream, and it's like heatwave conditions here in the UK. So for me, that is an absolute disaster. I'm afraid we have to revoke the Trooper title from Andreas Schilder. He has now formally retired from this race by disconnecting from the server. That is a big shame. Because he wasn't doing well by Andreas Schilder standards, but I was kind of rooting for him. And unfortunately, he's now out of the race. Up the hill go Younger and Gelato here all over the back of Maxi's car. Oh my goodness, that's a late dive. I almost got flashbacks of Peltmans and Schilder there. But they are able to keep it out of the barriers. Wow. DRS again, he gets another chance at it. Gets the heart rate down and very nearly runs into the back of him and spins and contact with Cochrane. And he's facing backwards. Peltman avoids him. And Gelato, well, spin turns into the wall. Not the best spin turn I've ever seen. Now rejoins the track. P7. It's going to be P8. Southwood goes through. That was one of the most costly spins you can have. P5, 15 seconds or so lost from Tony Gelato. He's now P8. That was a disastrous move. He got so distracted by Younger in the braking zone. I think he wasn't expecting Younger's car to be that slow mid-corner. Locked up the brakes in avoidance, and then that pitched the car into a spin. Big shame because he was doing a great job, and that means he's only just the fastest of the two RGP cars now. Peltmans has a chance at Cochrane now. That incident's got him a lot closer. To the inside he goes. Ooh, Cochrane. Not this time, he says. Gets another chance though. To the outside. That was more speculative than anything. Oh, but Cochrane does run wide. Touches the grass. Peltmans comes back at him. Not quite at all. Meanwhile, Jan Dragoon got past Gustavo Dalla Valle as we were talking. So back into P10, despite the unusual strategy. He'll be on C4s, I reckon. So, up the hill once again, Cochrane versus Peltmans. DRS about to open on the back of Peltman's car. As I was saying earlier, you get such an advantage here from DRS, more than I was expecting. And Peltmans demonstrates it by driving around the outside of Cochrane's car. That was a good move there, very clean. And very successful. But Cochrane, of course, now has the overspeed and the DRS on the exit. And goes back through on the inside, but you need to make the corner. He just about makes it, but slightly wide. Oh, and they rub wheels on the exit. Oh, and Peltmans goes off. Peltmans doesn't quite make the wall, but has a big slide. And just about keeps it. That was another one where it didn't look like they actually touched it. It just looked like the hitbox was slightly wider than the car, but you've got to provide for that in sim racing sometimes. Now, I'm not sure whether you heard that meow or not, but I'm going to take a quick 5-second break or so to run to the door, open it, let my cat out, and come straight back again. Okie dokie, sorry about that. Hope I didn't miss anything. But anyway, just need to make sure that that there wasn't going to be any more meowing on the stream. Anyway, oh, we've had some more YouTube comments. That's good. That's good stuff. Russ confirming he's in bed and watching at the same time. That's nice. I'm surprised you haven't just drifted off at that rate. And also saying get some Ben and Jerry's. I want to, but we're out. We're out of ice cream. And as I said earlier, that's an absolute disaster because of these heat wave conditions. And I really do not do well with adverse weather. I don't like heat. I don't like the extreme cold. I am suffering. But anyway, also saying this is a great race. Yes, there have been some, hasn't been the best race of the season, but there have been some good moments, some good talking points. And it's going to be a very fitting way for Max Hamlin to seal off the championship that he won by winning the last race and extending his championship lead, giving himself over a 50% winning percentage. That's the word. Couldn't think. I mean, I literally just said 50%. Whatever. Anyway, also Corradite saying, "Come on, Sanford, score some overtakes with a little bit added." Oh wow. Toby Sanford, I'm afraid, out of the race very early, so that maybe is an old comment that I missed. But yeah, very funny comment, made me chuckle a little. Back to the race, we've got the final 10 laps now. Final 10 laps of the season, that's a sad thought. This has been a good one. I've always been really impressed by Formula Trout, the professionalism of it, and how good some of these drivers are too. Especially drivers like Max Hamlin, Andreas Schilder, of course all of the Vermin drivers. Earlier this season we had Jack Smith and Oscar Williams seemingly rotating between the two of them in that second Vermin seat, and both of those were so good. Either of them could have been champions on their own. I mean, Jack Smith was the only driver good enough to beat Max Hamlin in the same car or with the same setup and team spirit, I suppose, at the Portuguese round. So Helpman's almost within DRS into Cochrane, but he has been for a little while now, since Cochrane made the mistake. Might get it again on the straight. That's something to watch out for. As we're now into the run lap 40 out of 47. So that's Hamlin leading from 9 seconds over Berza. Then Halligan, Younger, Cochrane. Younger and Cochrane might change before the end of the race. That's still relatively close as well. But Younger, I think, has been gradually getting away from Cochrane, so maybe he needs to make a slight mistake, or if his tyres go off badly or something like that. I think Helpman's versus Cochrane is a more likely candidate for a battle that might change. Also, Southwood and Gelato not too far apart as we talk. Gibson was a little bit close to them earlier, but he's been dropping back since. Maybe he could still get involved, but I think he's more under pressure from Dragoon here. Oh, big overspeed on the exit there from Peltmans. Peltmans was a lot faster up that little hill there. And this is the main battle that we'll be watching for the remainder of this race, I expect. Big lockup from Peltmans. Bico de Pato is turning itself into Bico de Flato, the way that it's causing tyres to under-rotate like that. You can tell it's 9:30 at night, can't you? Anyway, DRS open, and he's approaching the back of Cochrane's car. To the outside he goes. And it's going to be all about the switchback here. It's also going to be all about turn 4. Because you've got to make the corner, and so many people haven't been. It's so hard to judge when you're side by side, but he's going to make it before the corner. Fantastic level of overspeed there, and Connor Peltmans takes 5th place. When I talk about the overspeed, of course, I simply mean they are going faster than their opponent that they're racing with, and Peltmans used that to go all the way past Alex Cochrane. Now, does he have the time or the speed to catch Maxi Younger for 4th place? Because he made that stick seemingly relatively easily. No disrespect to Alex Cochrane. And he's been going fairly quickly recently. He's got 5 laps to gain about 3 seconds, which is doable. May need Younger to make a mistake though. Also, Dragoon is now right with Gibson. And I think this one might change because Dragoon, of course, is on much fresher tyres. And I presume also quite soft tyres. And this is over 9th place, Dragoon to the outside. And that's going to be done well before the corner. He still gets DRS, of course, because the DRS activation zone was before that. But that's just going to help him pull away. That's not going to help overtaking at all. So Dragoon there, up into P9. Probably doesn't have time to catch Gelato, but he does have much fresher tyres. He's on C3s. I thought he'd be going for C4s for the remainder of the race from when he stopped, but maybe C4 is not quite able to do that much time. Anyway, it's given him P9. Jan Dragoon, of course, we were talking earlier about pole sitters, and he was the only driver I didn't mention in that conversation who has been on pole. He took pole for Monza, and then sadly it all went awry on the first lap, and there was a massive red flag pile-up that was triggered. And unfortunately, it didn't go too much better for him on the second start either. Dropped to 4th out of that. But anyway, obviously has speed, but I'm afraid often that comes in qualifying rather than the race, and you don't get points for qualifying. Up ahead of him, Gelato and Southwood are going back at it again, it seems. Are they going to fight amongst themselves before the end of the race? Three laps remaining after this one. We're getting into the dying stage of the series. It's been a good one. And whether I come back or not, I'm not yet. It hasn't yet been decided whether I will or not. But even if I don't, I'll certainly be watching along and cheering on these drivers and enjoying the races, because Formula Trout has won my heart, I think. Kilgore saying yay in my ear. That's good to hear. Yeah, you put on a fantastic show, Kilgore. And today's racing's been a little more straightforward than usual. Been a little laid back. I mean, not laid back. The drivers have been absolutely going for it, but it hasn't been as kind of flat out neck and neck as some of the other rounds. But that's okay. It's still been a good show of racing. It's been I often say that just because races are straightforward, it doesn't mean that they're boring. There's always something to look for. There's always some kind of talking point to take from a round. And today there's going to be quite a few. Mustafa Radhi, what could he have done? Would he have been able to hold off Hamlin for the win if he'd got a better start and not got involved in the accident? Well, they say if is F1 spelled backwards. That doesn't really work with Formula Trout spelled backwards. That would be Tuart Alumroth, which doesn't have the same kind of ring to it, but you get what I'm saying. And of course, Andreas Schilder, where would he have actually finished if things hadn't started to go downhill for him, and he'd been able to fight through from the back and see where he'd end up. Altman's, meanwhile, has got up to the back of Younger. You're seeing that on the stream right now. And in the final couple of laps, we may have a battle on for 4th. That could add a real kick of spice to the end of this race. I tell you what, if you watch Younger versus Altman, keep that on the stream so we see if anything changes. I'll keep an eye as well on Southwood versus Gelato, and I'll shout if something happens. So I've got one battle on one screen, one on the other, and That's how I like to do it with Formula Trout. Meanwhile, Hammerlink, as he's on the penultimate lap of the race, now has an 11-second lead, which shows how good he's been. This has been a very Max Hammerlink style performance. Hasn't been totally dominant all the way through the series, because as I said earlier, there were times where Andreas Schilder, Jack Smith and Oscar Williams could hold a candle to him. All three of those won races, and of course Maradi won the last race at the Hungaroring, as Hammerlink now starts the final lap of the race. But the difference is that Hammerlink was there all the time. I mean, Maradi, Williams, and Smith, they quite literally weren't there all the time. They didn't make every race. And although Schilder made every race but one, he had four DNFs. Hammerlink had none. Hammerlink finished on the podium every time. And that's exactly why he's won this championship and won it quite so convincingly. Because he's just been that good. Peltmans versus Younger. Let's see if they can change. This is their final chance, maybe, heading into turn one. Oh, and a big slide for Peltmans. Oh, it almost looked as if things were going to change there. That was so close. Anyway, Hammerlink just has a couple of corners to go now. And after a dominant season of Formula Trout, he rounds the final corner. And he's going to win at Sao Paulo. What a way to end the series. And it's going to be a big one too. And Burns has had a spin on the last lap. Burns goes off. Halligan's going to be second. So Burns loses it on the last lap of the race. Halligan takes second place. Wow, that's unexpected. I have no idea what happened there, but that does put David Halligan P2. Christoph Berzer comes across the line in P3. And something so unexpected just happened there. And that, I mean, that's a Timo Glock style movement there. He didn't even have any right-handers to go. It was just left-handers from there. Younger and Peltmans are going to be close to the line here for P4. Peltman's going to get the DRS because the DRS zone starts before the checkered flag. And he goes through. And that is a prime example of how this race is not over until it's over. Because on the last lap of the race... Oh, and contact after the flag. Oh my goodness! And he gets absolutely dive bombed. Alex Cochrane coming out of nowhere like a torpedo and sending Peltmans through the trees. But anyway, that's a prime example of how this race isn't over until it's over, because in the top 5, everyone changed except the leader at the end there on the final lap of the race. Not just the final lap, the final corner. Wow. For a race that wasn't the most exciting of the series, and again, it was still a good one, but not quite as hectic and all out as some of the others we've had. That really did have quite a dramatic end, didn't it? Wow. Well, that's a fantastic way to end this series of Formula Trout competition. If you want to hear the drivers' thoughts and feelings after this is all over, then you can just stay put where you are now. And we'll be interviewing a couple of the drivers, those who are still awake enough for an interview, and seeing what they think of it. But actually, I know I'm kind of catching you off guard right now, but could we, if you like unmute your microphone to the broadcast, could we talk to you first, Kilgore, since it's your series? Okay. Sorry for catching you off guard. Do you want me to, so we can talk to? Okay. Well, let's talk to champion and race winner Max Hamlin. Are you there? So, Max, you did a fantastic job. It's been a dominant series, but that's how you end it. You won this race by 16.9 seconds in the end, and that just sums up your series. You must be feeling great.
It's a nice way to finish out the season. Obviously, I was a bit disappointed because I was getting ready for a nice race with Mustafa, I think, and then he binned it off the line, so that sucks. But you know, it happened. So other than that, it was a pretty quiet race for me. I think I saw 2 cars during that. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite a lights flag because of the pit stages, but even so, it was a dominant performance. Did the car feel better than usual today? Did it feel perfectly hooked up, or was there still something you could have gained in the setup?
No, I was quite conservative today. I only started practicing yesterday, so
Wow.
once I saw Mustafa spin, I kind of figured I could just take it pretty easy and just cruise home, so to speak, and that's what I did. So
And of course, you'd already wrapped up the championship, so that was more for bragging rights than anything else. Are you going to do it all again next season? Are you going to be back?
definitely not, no.
Oh, that's a shame. Why not?
You know, uh, without wanting to like sound like too, I don't want to really shit talk anyone, so it's kind of a.
It's
I
okay.
I just don't like the cars, like the RSS cars. I just don't like them very much.
I think I think we will need. I think we will be having a new car for next season.
Yeah, but it's just the next version of the RSS hybrid. So it's just the
Okay.
21 version. Yeah, it's I got asked to race the season, and somewhere around race 4 or 5, probably stopped having fun. But I just went with it because I had already started.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's not not really my particular thing. I don't think.
Well, you could have fooled me. You won it quite easily. But anyway, fantastic job all season, and congratulations on your absolutely dominant victory and drivers' championship.
Yeah, thank you, and same to you, and thanks for streaming and all that. It's always good fun to watch the races back afterwards. So thank you.
No problem. So that was Max Hammerlink. Let's see who else we can bring in. Who finished second in that race? It was. Well, David Halligan's not here yet. Oh, he is. Oh, you've already you're one step ahead of me. You've dragged him into the commentators channel. Okie dokie. Hello, David. How are you?
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, not bad. Thank you. Cheers.
Now, that was a surprising finish to this race. I mean, you knew you'd be on the podium, but P2, final corner, Timo Glock style.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't believe I saw Boza like that. It's just I mean, I was really pleased to be in the podium because obviously I've had a couple of near misses on the podium, if you like. So I'm really delighted, to be honest, and also it means I move up to P4 in the drivers. So I'm pretty pleased, to be honest.
Well, that's a great way to end the series because that was your only podium of the whole thing, and you got so close, so many top fives, even more top tens. Did you enjoy the series as a whole, or do you feel like you could have got more out of it?
Well, you can always look back and what ifs, but that's what happened at the end of the day. And to be honest, it's been a brilliant season, really competitive, the most competitive I think I've ever seen it since I've been here. Lots of good drivers, very close. It's been brilliant, so I'm really pleased.
And I'll ask you the same question that I asked Max there. Are you going to be back?
Of course.
Great stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully in September or October, whenever it begins.
So did you enjoy the series as a whole and the car? And is it a car that suits you?
Yeah, I mean, um, I quite enjoy the higher downforce compared to last season. I've definitely sort of been brought up in the video games to have to drive more higher downforce cars, so it was something I was a bit more used to. Yeah, but other than that, I feel like I've improved anyway in my racing and just in general. So I'm pretty pleased right now. So
Fantastic. Well, P2 today and a really nice one at that, very clean. So congrats on that, and well done on your P4 in the driver standings.
yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad it was clean too. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Fantastic. Who else should we speak to? There are a lot of people waiting for interviews here, and not sure we'll have time for all of them. But anyway, Christoph Berzer, P3. How are you?
Hi. It could be better.
Yeah, so I understand why you'll be feeling quite up and down because on one hand, you knew you were going to be on the podium and you were on the podium. On the other hand, it's not quite the step of the podium you expected or wanted to be on. What happened there?
I don't know. It was literally the last corner. I was braking. I got a little bit of a wobble, and it caught me off even more by surprise than it was actually worth over correcting. And then I just went off to the grass and was just rolling there, trying to get back on track. But by the time David was already past, so yeah, sweet podium, but a bit bittersweet at the end.
The rest of the race was quite straightforward though. After Muradi had a slightly rough start, were you trying to catch up to Max, or was he just too quick?
I was obviously pushing, but I was trying not to over push the car, but because it's still one spin and you're not second anymore, but you could be fifth or 10th or whatever. So I was trying not to overdrive the car because I had a really bad time last year. And I had basically two objectives today. The first one was P8 because I think Oscar Williams was 2 points ahead of me in the championship, and to beat Mustafa Muradi, who was same points as I was.
Okay, well you did both of those things. So
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still very happy. I'm still very happy with the performance. It's a bit bittersweet at the end, but I take the pace more than I take the 3 more points, which don't change anything at the end.
that's true. Now you had a slightly dodgy start to the season, but the second half was a lot better with 3 podiums. How do you think you'll look back on the series as a whole?
As a driver, I think I learned even more this season. It's a bit strange because you feel like you do everything you can do and then you discover something new. That happened at the start of the season. Learned how to drive the car, how to drive around the weaknesses, the lots of spins I had, and then kept it consistent when others didn't in the second half of the season.
It was very Sebastian Vettel style redemption arc. I enjoyed it. But anyway, congratulations on your P3 today, and good luck in future series.
Thank you.
So that was Christoph Buzz. Oh goodness, we really do have a lot of people here, don't we? Oh wait, there's only 2 of these I haven't spoken to yet. Let's talk to Alex Cochran. Alex, you there? Wait, that confused me. Sorry. No, never mind. Connor Peltmans, never mind. Not Alex. Connor, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. So Connor, you were very quick today. You finished in the top 5. How do you feel about it as a whole?
Very messy race from my end. Even though the pace was very good, I got into quite a few incidents. Unfortunately, Mustafa hit the curb wrong, going up the main straight or the last corner, and I kind of hit him from the rear after he started spinning, so that kind of ended his afternoon. But
Was
yeah,
he going to spin anyway, or did you tap him around?
he was. It was unavoidable from my end,
Okay.
but I think I did not help with the spinning.
You see, that confused me because we actually didn't see that properly on stream. But anyway, and what happened with Andreas Schilder later on?
Andreas, from my perspective, he jinked a bit left when I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't really have time to react. So yeah, I have to watch the replays again because I don't know if he moved earlier than I thought, but from my end, he jinked left a bit, and I was caught off guard by that.
Okay, unlucky, but especially with the first one because that sounded properly unavoidable. As for the series as a whole, you of course took a big break in the mid part, but when you came back, you seemed to be so much quicker than before. What were you doing over those few weeks that you were out, and how did you come back so much quicker?
I was racing in a different league called Metaspree, and we did the Formula Hybrid 2020 and then the 2021, and I did a lot of practice laps with that, and then I quit that and came back here, and I figured out how to drive the car a bit better.
Nice. Well, yeah, it worked out for you, and I think if you come back next season, you could be a much bigger contender.
Yeah, we'll see. I have to see if I can bring my steering wheel to university, but if not, I'll just hire another quick driver to put in my place, and hopefully Mustafa continues with us next season. So that should be a pretty good team.
Indeed. Well, congratulations on your quick pace, and we'll see you next time, I suppose.
Thank you.
Okay, well, now since I messed up before, let's have a quick chat to Alex Cochran. Sorry about that, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
A bit disappointed. Not the race I wanted to solve, to be honest.
Well, we saw you in the wall at one point. What happened?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a stupid mistake on my part. At the start of the race, you know, it wasn't too bad. I was battling for third, I think, with David, and then because he was pulling away a little bit, I couldn't really match him. So I thought, right, I'll go into the pit. I came out, and the times weren't that good. And then I think about 5 laps later, David pit, and he was, you know, 5/10 a lap faster straight away. I was so confused why just couldn't match him at all. And then, yeah, like a couple of laps later, I was in the wrong engine mode since the start. I was in battery mode instead of the motor mode on the MGU.
Right.
So I lost like 8 seconds, I think, in total to him through the second part of the stint. So, you know, I tried to push really hard to try close the gap, and then I just made a stupid error out of the exit at turn 1. Broke the front wing. So,
That's a
yeah, it
shame.
was just really disappointing.
Despite that, I've just checked the standings, and they've already started updating themselves. You're actually P5. That's got to be some compensation, right?
Not
You're
really.
actually
I was
P5.
hoping I could get P3 today. Jack's only, I think, 6 points ahead. I know he didn't make every round, but I was targeting P3, and I was, you know, battling for that near the start of the race. So I was really hoping I could finish in that position. But yeah, the stupid error with the battery and then just spinning on my own. It's yeah, a stupid error on my part. But
Fair enough.
yeah.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, great job to David, getting P4 just in front. So yeah, been battling all season long with him.
Anyway, thanks for joining us for the full series, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thanks for doing the streams.
Okay. Anyway, Kilgore, I think that's all of the drivers that we're going to have time for. But a quick word from you, the series organizer. Okay, that's all right. Okay, we'll give it a second. We'll talk to Maxi Younger very quickly as Kilgore's setting his microphone up. Maxi, good season from you. Decent end. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. That was fun, enjoyable. I feel like I raced off the field doing that race. I don't know if it got caught on stream much.
There were a lot of side by sides today. Do you feel that you made the most of the opportunities?
At the end there, I think I could have been a little bit smarter. I don't know if you saw it was like a photo finish, and Connor got
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
fourth.
we saw it.
And I think I could have maybe done something, you know, broke early to just bunch up or something to just avoid that drag race at the end or something.
DRS was seriously powerful today, don't you think?
I think it wasn't amazingly powerful. I think what made it powerful was people running out of ERS because that was a major issue. And I talked to the
Right.
guys in the waiting for interview channel as well. Like everybody had issues with that, including me. That's why you saw sometimes, you know, Connor, sometimes he was close to me, but he couldn't get alongside. And then in another lap, he'd be barely within the RS and would get alongside and try to pass. So it was about managing that battery.
Yeah, and of course that's harder to see from the broadcast perspective, so that's why I didn't really understand that. Thanks for letting us know. Unfortunately, the broadcast's been running on for a really long time, and I want to get time to speak to Kilgore first. So we're gonna have to dismiss you. But
No problem.
congratulations on a strong series, and good luck in the future.
See ya.
So, Kilgore, you there now?
Sorry,
Oh.
wait, I think so. I think it's working. I think people can hear me. Yep.
Okay, yeah, hopefully people can. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm talking to myself. But anyway, so sorry for that. Sorry for putting you on the spot, I suppose. But a fantastic, very entertaining series of Formula Trout, and you are the said Trout that hands its name to it, if that makes sense. How do you feel about the whole thing, and do you have any closing words for the project?
It's been crazy. I mean, I just take a back seat. I'll be honest. It's the community that does all the hard work. But it's amazing to see just the amount of talent that this league brings in now. You know, I always say it just started off with me and Tony Gelato. Actually, we were just racing together, and we were like, how do we bring more people into this? Because this is fun, and that was 5 years ago. And yeah, it's just, you know, on a daily basis, people just keep joining. Like, I don't know if we even have an advertising campaign or anything. It's just, it's all on word of mouth now. It's crazy.
Yeah, friends inviting friends. So, what do you see for the future of the league, season 9 and beyond?
That's a really good question. I mean, we're already planning the next season. Was it balls in motion? Is that the right saying? It's a bit late and it's been hot. But
I
yeah,
understand.
it's just crazy how much kind of effort goes into pretend race cars, I guess. You know?
Indeed.
But you know, these guys love it, and I love watching the story unfold. You know, all I'm doing is broadcasting it. You know, it's everyone else is doing the hard work, but it's just crazy to see the story from the start of the season to the end. You really begin to appreciate just the amount of skill it takes to be competitive.
It really does. Anyway, thank you so much for talking, and thank you for the league as a whole, because this has been a really, really good one. And whether I'm back or not, I've really enjoyed this season, and I'll be watching on anyway. So, yeah, thank you for what you put together, and it's been wonderful.
Well, thank you very much for being part of the journey, because you know you've been like pretty much the face of, or at least the voice of the league.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You and Ross basically told the story, and you know it really kind of your charisma really kind of comes through. You know, if you don't return next season, you know it will be a big loss. But you know, again, thank you very much for everything you've done, and I wish you best in the future.
Thank you. And also thanks to Russ. Like you mentioned Russ there, and he's fantastic. One of the best commentators that I've commentated alongside. Not just one of the best young commentators, but he gets better and better every time. I say that every time as well. And I actually met Russ through Formula Trout, and he's already becoming quite a good friend. So that's another thing I appreciate. So thanks to Russ, thanks to Kilgore, thanks to everyone who helped me set up for this league. And I hope that everyone who's watching right now is going to come back for Series 9, because we've got more where this came from. So from me and everyone at Formula Trout, good night.